So thank you, Amanda and Kelly Sharp. That was awesome. Thank you. You know, it is so great today to have so many kids in the room with us. It just really enriches the experience. So to all the kids who normally get to spend your time in a great and wonderful, fun Sunday school, I want to welcome you. We're so glad that you are here. Let's acknowledge all of our kids. Yeah. So we are in the middle of a 7-part series called Keys to the Kingdom. It was created by David Owen Ritz, and it's all about living the abundant life. And you know, we speak in Unity a lot about abundance because we know that God is infinite, and we know that the world being given to us is abundant, and it is infinite. And he calls it the keys to the kingdom because David Owen Ritz says there are 7 keys to living this abundant life. In the first week, we talked about the key of commitment, committing to put God first, to put God first with your time, through your prayer life and your meditation time, to put God first through your sharing your talent, your service opportunities, serving humanity, and putting God first through sharing your treasure in terms of sharing your gifts, your financial gifts with the world. And then last week, we talked about the second key, which is vision. Vision, and we took some time in the service for you to create your vision, to write down your vision, your dreams for the world. What is it that you dream for your life? And if you haven't yet had a chance to begin working with your vision, I encourage you to do that. I want to read to you an email that I received from one of our congregants, and maybe it will resonate with you. She said, "For years, I read in books, was told in classes, and heard in church lessons to write down my vision," right? You've been hearing this for a long time. "I always ignored this advice." Anybody here ignore the advice to write it down? Maybe. You don't have to raise your hand. "I didn't really believe there was any benefit to it. And on the other hand, I felt that writing it down would require that I actually do something about it. Without writing it, I could still just live in Dreamville and wonder why my vision didn't materialize. I finally decided to give it a try, and it had immediate benefit." She said, "Suddenly I was regularly thinking about my vision, making decisions based on how the decision would affect my vision, negatively or positively. I was living in a space of my vision. It started feeling attainable, which gave me more energy to put into it. I learned how to drill down to the baby steps I can take toward my vision. And now my vision feels like something I'm moving toward instead of just a wish." I wonder if those words resonate with any of you here. You have dreams in your head, you have visions in your heart, and you hope that someday they'll become reality. Well, I want to tell you today that writing down your vision makes a difference. Reading your vision regularly makes a difference. And every time you read it, it will begin to grow and take root and begin to draw to you, magnetize to you the resources and the people that are necessary to make your vision real. So that was what we talked about last week. That key was vision. And today we're going to talk about the key of truth. You see, what stands in the way of our vision are the negative beliefs and the limited thinking that we have, and we all have that. But what replaces the negative beliefs and the limited thinking is truth with a capital T. So I've invited some experts to be with us today, some experts that have been learning about unity for years. They're growing up with the unity message. So help me welcome 3 of our wisest experts to come forward. And so I'd like to introduce these wonderful experts to you that we have right here. We have Marissa Overland. Marissa is 12 years old, and she is a part of our Unity group here at the church. She loves children. She wants to be a teacher someday. In fact, she loves children so much that when she has a free moment, she sneaks away to go help in the nursery. So let's welcome Marissa. And next, I want to ask you to help me welcome Dominic Vergara. And Dominic is 10 years old. He is one of our junior prayer chaplains here at the ministry. He likes to go snowboarding with his dad in Vail, Colorado over spring break. That's one of his favorite things to do. And he's also proud that he started doing Taekwondo when he was just 4 years old. And now he's a recommended second-degree black belt. So we don't want to disagree with Dominic. And lastly, I want to introduce you to Logan Cleveland Soder. Logan, yeah, whoa. Logan is 17 years old, and he is supported by our YOU, who are over here. Yay, YOU, yay, Youth of Unity. He has a unique ability to beatbox with a flute. And also, while he is currently a senior in high school, but he's been attending Johnson County Junior College. And so for the last year, he is in the top 11% of the students at Johnson County Junior College. Whoa. So we have some very wise ones up here, and I'm going to ask them some questions and allow them to share their insights with you, all of you. So Logan, you've got the microphone. We'll just let you start. So can you tell me a little bit, what does abundance mean to you? What would the abundant life look like for you?
I think abundance means having God in your life and knowing that that Spirit is always with you and everywhere ever present. So.
Can you just breathe that in for a moment, knowing that abundance is having God with you with every breath and every moment? Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you. Thanks so much. You can pass it on to Dominic. So Dominic, have you ever had a time in your life where negative thoughts got in your way, got in the way of something that you wanted to do or be?
Yes.
And if so, how did you overcome that? Yes.
By trying to take a different path to get to my goal.
Can you share what the goal was that you were?
It was my goal of going snowboarding, actually. So I didn't know what to do pretty much, and so I just tried and I liked it.
You tried to what?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you just stayed focused on your goal.
Yes.
On your vision. So what advice would you have to these folks out here? I've asked them last week to write down their vision and their goals. Do you have any advice for them?
Never give up on it.
Yeah, spoken with conviction. Thank you. Thanks, Dominic. Yeah. And so, Marissa, what does it mean to you to say that God is your source? What does that mean to you?
God is God is everywhere, so he's the source of everything.
Yeah, so God is everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, I interrupted.
No.
And you know, you shared with me earlier today, I was looking at this beautiful drawing that you had made, and you shared that you had to overcome some negative thoughts in order to be able to get to that place. Can you just tell me a little bit about that?
I used to think that I was really, really bad at art, but then I practiced it a lot, and now I'm really pretty good at art for my age.
So you used to think you were really bad at it,
Yeah.
but you practiced a lot, and now you're really good. Yay. That's beautiful, wonderful. Okay, so this next question I want to ask of all three of them. You're really very blessed to be a part of a church that's loves you so much and is giving you such positive tools to carry into your life. Is there one unity teaching or one thing that you've learned here that you wish everybody on earth knew? And what would that be?
That God is in everybody, so treat them all well.
That God is in everybody, so treat them all well. That's beautiful. Yeah. Thanks, Marissa.
To know that God will guide you where you need to go and get you there the right way, the positive way.
that God will guide you. Oh, that's beautiful. Have you felt God's guidance in your life?
Very much.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Dominic.
Okay, so the one thing for me that's like the biggest thing, and I mentioned this in the last service, but
the YOUers and I go to these church trips called rallies, and generally they're about 2 or 3 days long. And there's always a moment, I don't know why, but whenever I guess I feel comfortable with feeling this way, but generally I feel kind of like I'm in like a negative space, or I get those negative thoughts, and all my friends come to me and talk to me, and it just makes me feel better. So, I mean, knowing that there's unconditional love in this world is nice to know that, you know, no matter what situation you're in, there's still somebody that cares and still somebody that loves you.
That's beautiful. Let's acknowledge this, guys. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thanks. A lot of wisdom in those young people. And what I find is that sometimes children and teens have the ability to put something so succinctly that it goes right into my heart. So I'm going to sit down now and be done for the day. No such luck. No such luck. No. So what we heard from them is the power of overcoming your negative beliefs. You know, I understand about that. Some of you out there have beliefs that are holding you back. You've got a vision that you want to accomplish, and yet you're not quite able or willing to step into it. And you're letting the past hold you back, or what somebody else has said hold you back. And yet what I heard Dominic said is never give up. Never give up on your vision. You know, the way it works is that our beliefs shape our thoughts, and our thoughts shape our emotions, and then from our emotions, actions spring forth. So we want to work on our beliefs. We want to let go of the negative beliefs, and the way we do that is to replace them with higher thoughts, or truth. Truth with a capital T. When I speak of truth with a capital T, I'm speaking of the spiritual laws that are always in effect, no matter what. They're always in effect, no matter what. And in the book of John, chapter 8, Jesus spoke these familiar words that I know you've heard before. You will know the truth, and the truth will make you free. You will know the truth, and the truth will make you free. Now, he spoke these words to his disciples. And here's what he said. He said, if you continue in my word, you are truly my disciples. And you will know the truth, and the truth will make you free. And what he means by, if you continue in my word, you will be my disciples, he means that when you and I really grasp that the Christ is within us, that we have the wisdom of the Christ within us, and then we put that into expression, then we really are the disciples of Jesus. We're the disciples of the living Christ. And that's when we will really get the truth with a capital T. And remember what we said last week, that a higher vibration thought always replaces a lower vibration thought. So what we're going to speak about in the next few minutes here are some of the higher vibration thoughts, the truth thoughts that David Owen Ritz says can replace your limited thinking, can be more powerful than your negative thinking if you let them. He says there are 7 of these truths, and I'll share some of them with you today. We're going to start with the fundamental, most important one, and that is God is our source. God is your source. God is my source. I'm convinced that if you and I really lived from that place, if we really got it, that God was our source, then we would truly be dwelling in the kingdom of heaven right here, right now, in all ways. You know, when you know that God is your source, you realize that your source is not your 8th grade teacher who may or may not give you an A. Your source is not your employer who may or may not give you a raise. Your source comes from something deeper and something more eternal and lasting, and that is God in you. God is your source. You know, I was talking this week to one of our church members who is about to go through a very serious medical test. And of course, she's hoping for the most positive results. But there's time to wait between now and the test, which is not till Thursday. And she said to me, she said, Patricia, I'm just so glad that Unity has taught me how to surrender. You see, when you know that God is your source, then you surrender. You let go of the worry. You let go of the anxiety. You show up and do what's yours to do, but you let go of the worry and the anxiety. You surrender because you're in faith, knowing that God is your source. So would you repeat after me? God is my source. Would you say that with me? God is my source. And that's the truth. And that is the truth. So that's truth number 1. God is my source. And all of the others hinge upon that one. Number 2 is that abundance, David Owen Ritz says, abundance is a here and now reality. Abundance is a here and now reality. You see, your point of power is in this moment. Your point of power is in this moment. And we've got these great examples in the Olympics. How many of you are watching the Olympics? Raise your hand. You've seen some of it, right? When those athletes are out there, they are focused. They can't be thinking about the last balance beam that they fell off of. They can't be thinking about the next swim race that they've got to compete in. They've got to be focused right now in this moment. That's where your point of power is. Abundance is a here and now reality. When you get it, that you don't have to wait. You see, so many of us think, well, I've got to wait until I win the race. I've got to wait until I get that promotion. I've got to wait until I get to 9th grade. Whatever it might be for you, we sometimes think that we can't really be fully and completely happy until something else happens. But if abundance is a here and now reality, that means right here, right now is the kingdom of heaven. And so you put on the eyeglasses of God and you notice that right here and right now, there's infinite potential. There's not going to be any more potential in the next moment than there is right now. And David Owen Ritz says this, he says, to live this truth, you must affirm the presence of God's abundance, even in the face of appearances to the contrary, until you can train your mind to look beyond appearances. Train your mind. Isn't that what we heard from these kids about staying focused? And isn't that what you know every one of those Olympic athletes has done? They have trained their mind so that they can focus on this moment right here and right now. My point of power is in this moment. My point of power is in this moment. Would you say that with me? My point of power is in this moment, and that's the truth. Okay, so that's truth number 2. Truth number 3 is that abundance is inexhaustible. There's enough for everyone. Now, this is a toughie because we get confused. And we confuse the facts with the truth. Now, I know the fact is we haven't had much rain. That's a fact. I don't know how much, but not very much. That's a fact. But the truth, there's a higher level of truth that says that God is infinite and that we always have all that we need in every moment. And so that's the higher truth. We have a choice always to live from the fact to the truth. You may not be feeling healthy and well in this particular moment. You may have an ache or a pain or something that's troubling you, and that's a fact. But there's a higher level truth, and the higher level truth is that you are created whole and perfect in the image and likeness of God, with God intelligence in every cell of your body. That's the truth. And so we can replace the facts with the truth. And as we hold to the truth, we then draw to us the resources to make that happen. So there is enough for everyone. There's abundance for everyone. Abundance is an inexhaustible supply. God is infinite. God is always creating, right? God is always creating. God never stops. God is this spirit, this energetic force that is always moving for good in your life, always moving for good in your life, and you step into the flow. So I invite you to affirm with me, there is enough and more to meet my needs. Together, there is enough and more to meet my needs. Yes. Okay, and then the fourth teaching that we're going to talk about today is that everyone deserves abundance, and that means you. Everyone deserves abundance, and that means you. And to live in this truth, you have to learn to love and appreciate yourself and know that you are deserving, just as you are. To know that you are absolutely deserving. And it doesn't matter if you just fell off the vault, you know? We look at these Olympians, and you just want to send love to them and remind them how amazing they are, regardless of whether they lost the last race, right? You see, you are deserving just as you are. Abundance is for everyone, just as you are. And one of the things that David Owen Ritz says is that we have abundance in our lives equal to our level of acceptance. Abundance is about giving, and it's about receiving. It's about being able to receive. I had someone try to give me a gift this week, and initially I felt like it was just too lavish and too generous, and I tried to push it away. And then I realized this was a gift being offered by somebody who loved me. Why would I push away? Why would I push away the universe showing up as this person? Why would I push away God showing up as this gift? And so we're invited to call higher, to call ourselves higher, and to know that we are worthy of the gifts that are there. And the more we're willing to accept, the more we are willing to receive. And if you think you're willing to accept, but you're not really receiving, then I invite you to do two things. One is ask yourself where you're giving, and give with generosity and an open heart. Give and help other people achieve the very thing you want to achieve. Give in that way. And if you feel you're accepting but you're not really receiving, then I invite you to also ask yourself, where in you do you feel undeserved? What part of you does not feel like it's deserving? And to begin to love that part of you. Abundance is for everyone, and abundance is for me. Abundance is for everyone, and abundance is for me. Would you say that? Abundance is for everyone, and abundance is for me. And it is for you. It's why we call this series The Keys to the Kingdom of Heaven. It's not a far-off, distant place. The kingdom of heaven is right here, right now. It's when you go to the rally and you allow yourself to soak in that unconditional love. It's always there, but something clicks for Logan and he's able to take it in. That's so beautiful. And abundance is when you let go of those small thoughts that say, gee, I'm not a good artist, like Marissa did. And you just, you let go of that, because the higher truth you see for Marissa was that she's a wonderful artist. She just had to persist and move past that particular negative belief. And if you get it like Dominic does, that God is with you always, and you just have to persist with your dream, then you will get it that abundance is right here, right now, in this now moment. As I've watched these Olympians, sometimes I try to put myself in their shoes. Now, you might laugh at that. That's kind of a funny thing, because there's not a single one of those that I believe I could do, but I suppose if I stayed with it, I could. I remember when my youngest daughter was about 9 or 10, and it was one of the Olympics. And she was watching the girls' gymnastics. Now, my daughter had never really taken gymnastics, but she watched them, and she said, I'm going to be an Olympic athlete. Now we all know, right, quote, know that it's way too late to start at 9 or 10. That's what we know is true. That's what my older daughter told her was true. She said, Amanda, it is way too late. You have missed that boat, honey. You have totally missed that boat. And I said, of course I said to Teresa, no, if Amanda wants to do that and she's willing to work and she's willing to persist, who knows what's possible? Well, Amanda didn't particularly want to work and persist at it very long and hard, so this story doesn't have like an ending that she's really one of those that's at the Olympics this year. No, it doesn't have that ending, no. But it's true. And we've got to encourage one another in that way. We've got to encourage one another in that way, because we never know when the miracle is about to happen. So take, for instance, the story that has most inspired me in these Olympics. Have you heard the name yet? Oscar Pistorius? Maybe not yet, because the track and field events are just starting. Oscar Pistorius is running for South Africa. But there's something very unique about this particular runner. You see, he has 2 prosthetic legs. Oscar was born with deformed legs. And when he was only 11 months old, they had to amputate his legs below the knee. And so in order to compete in these Olympics, he has specially made prosthetics that have a little curve at the bottom to where he can run. And he has been so successful that yesterday he placed second in the qualifying for the 500-meter race in which he's running. Let me read to you what it says about him in the Los Angeles Times. More than anything, it's about his heart, which has seemingly been sprinting toward this moment for nearly 25 years, since a birth defect led his legs being amputated below the knee when he was 11 months old. Running in the Olympics, he was never even supposed to stand. Now, just pause for a moment. Think of what's in your life today that you think is impossible. Think of what is in your life today that you think is impossible. Is it more impossible than an 11-month-old baby whose legs have been amputated someday going to the Olympics? And so they asked Oscar about his mother, his late mother, Sheila, and this is what he said. He said, "I thought about my mom today. She was a bit of a hardcore person. She always said," now please listen to this, she always said, "a loser is not a person who gets involved and comes in last, but it's the person who doesn't get involved at all." A loser is not a person who gets involved and comes in last. A loser is a person who doesn't get involved at all. I'm inviting you today to let the words of these kids inspire you and call you higher. You see, we all have a choice, you and I. How will we engage life? How will you and I engage life? Which old stories are we going to let go of? And which new truths are we going to live into? It's a choice in every moment. We can be inspired by Oscar Pistorius, or we can be inspired by these words I'd like to close with from Albert Einstein. You know, Einstein once said there's two ways to live life. You can live life as if nothing is a miracle, or you can live life as if everything's a miracle. And it's your choice. God bless you.